it's Jen Varela from Sugar Night Night, and I'm really excited today because we're going to go live with Terri Benjamin Turnbull, and we're going to talk to her. So she's going to be coming on soon. Thank you for joining today. And just as a side note, this is like my second live ever, so be a little patient with me as I'm learning how to do this. But I just really feel that this is a super valuable opportunity to get to talk to Terri. She's just a huge resource. So she's here. So I am going to, I think you have to ask Terri to join me, I think. So I think, oh crud, let's hope I do this right. Let me see if I can add you. There we go, it's me. It was me. So hopefully Terry's going to respond, and then we'll get to, yay! Hi. You know, so nice to see you, and thanks for putting up with my, like, you know, sometimes you just got to go for it and learn in the process, right?
Yeah.
So thank you. So nice to see you. So for those of my followers who don't know Terri, you're in for a huge treat today.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So your knowledge and heart and how you communicate. Oh no, she just left. Oh gosh. Hopefully she'll come back. Let me try again. Not sure what happened. We're gonna try again. We're gonna add her. And drum roll, please. Oh goodness. So this is the beauty of live. You get to see the real thing. This is not all polished and edited. So hopefully she's going to be able to get back on, and it's going to be a great conversation. So I don't know if you guys have been learning as much as I've been learning this last week, and just really taking a look at how can we be more mindful, more aware. And so part of what I'm working on is highlighting different women of color's businesses and services, and just amplifying the voice of those that need to be heard and not necessarily need to hear my words. So I'm excited about doing this. So I'm so bummed because I don't know what's happening. We lost Terri. Now we're waiting. She says she's unable to join. I don't know why. Let's try again. Let's add. Third time's a charm. If we have to, we'll stop and restart and see if she can join. Oh, there she is. Third time's a charm. It's the real stuff, isn't it? So thank you for being here. And yeah,
so for having me, Jen.
Yeah. Well, and we're gonna talk about my favorite topic. But first, I just wanted to introduce you and maybe have you do a little introduction yourself as well. Terri has just terrific support for new moms and dads, for that matter, that as you're just starting your new parenting life, how to take care of yourself, how to give yourself permission to not do it perfectly is one of the things I love, how she comes across so authentically. And just, I really wish I would have had you when I had my kids in my ear all day long. Because it's just always so encouraging to hear what you have to say. So why don't you share just a little bit about yourself, because I think quite a bit of my audience might not be familiar with you. So
well, I work with depleted moms and dads. So after giving birth, the postpartum journey is not as harmonious for all moms, you know, and that's one of the things I have to keep reminding them, is that it isn't a one shoe fits all. Not because you see this reality, well, it's not really reality, but not because you see your friends or social media or whatever, that doesn't mean that it's true. So I work with depleted parents, specifically moms struggling with maternal illnesses, so postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety. I help them to improve their mental health using a whole list of alternative modalities. And they normally would come to me when they're at wit's end. Like if they've just had enough, that's when I come in. Yeah.
So we all need the SOS. Who do we call, right?
Yes.
We call
Yes.
Terri. I like that. Yeah. Well, okay, so I'm going to say one thing because I'm doing new with live. If you can shift your camera just a little bit, because all the words are going over your eyes, and I want to see. Oh, that's so nice. And you probably can't see it like I can see it that way. I don't know. That's
No, it looked different for me.
Yeah, so I couldn't see
Yeah.
your eyes. All the words are over. So this is good. So up a little higher is nice.
Okay.
Perfect. Oh yes, so nice. So
perfect.
So,
with
you know,
on
we
my
help each
end.
other out here, right? You know, so part of so I work with families who are having a hard time getting their little ones to sleep, and my philosophy really is, as you are approaching 6 months, that's something to take a look at. Like, can we gently teach our children how to self-soothe? But prior to that, there's a lot of time. 6 months can feel like an eternity, and I just have to say how much I love postpartum doulas that can come in and help and get some parents some sleep and all that, as well as just, you know, figuring out strategies on how to cope and deal and get more sleep. And I know you have a great segment on your IGTV where you talk about setting up the sleep environment and some strategies, particularly in regards to postpartum mood and anxiety disorders. You know, I had postpartum depression and anxiety with both my pregnancies and both my birth of my children. And at that time, there just was not this discussion. It was not happening. And that's part of what launched my business, because I knew that getting sleep changed things for me. So one of the things I thought would be really great to talk about was the impact of, and some people call it PMADS, like perinatal mood and anxiety disorder. Some people call it PPD, postpartum depression, or PPA, postpartum anxiety, right? So it's all these acronyms. But just talking about how PPD, you know, affects sleep, and what are some of your approaches and your thoughts on that, and what have you noticed with your clients?
Okay. I'll just say maternal mental illnesses, because it encompasses them all, you know, so everything fits under one umbrella, so no one will get confused. So
and it's temporary, and it doesn't last for forever, and I just always want to put that hope in there, right? So yeah,
it does not last forever, and that is why it's important for you, if you suspect that you are struggling, to get support to help you get out on the other side quicker. As in regards to sleep, one of the things that I have found is that, and studies have also proven this, that moms who are struggling with maternal mental illnesses have a harder chance staying asleep, falling asleep, and the quality of their sleep. But it's like a circle, because if they don't get enough sleep, and if they don't get like a deep, nice, good quality of sleep, it will also impact the way they function the next day, and it will also impact their mental illness, their state of mind. So one of the things that my clients always say to me is that I can't sleep, or if I go to sleep, I have to wake up to nurse, or I have to wake up to take care of the baby. And that is one of the things that I hear every single day. But the dangerous part of that is, if you don't take some time, if you don't rest, if you don't sleep, then what's the alternative? Your depression is going to get worse, and that is proven by studies, because the mind, the brain needs to relax. And during sleep is when you replenish and you repair the brain and the system, the full body. So if you're not taking this time during the evening, or whenever it is that you decide to take a nap or sleep, because napping is different from sleeping, you know, and then when you go to sleep, the quality of your sleep, not the quantity, the quality of your sleep also comes into play, because the body, and specifically the brain, does not replenish itself unless you can go into REM sleep, like the deep levels of sleep. That's when the brain is and the mind is able to heal. So all of that comes into play. And one of the things that I always say to my moms is you have to delegate. If you're feeling overwhelmed, you are not meant to do it all. Delegate, hire someone to help you, or get the grandparents involved so that you can have a proper night's sleep. Not 20 minutes or 5 minutes, because that's not enough to recharge the system. So, and it's always a battle, because they're always telling me, you know, they can't do that. They can't take the time to rest, which is a very dangerous thing.
Yeah, we have this thing as women, right? That we're supposed to be able to do it all. That we're supposed to, you know, I always laugh. I'm like, well, you can't have your house clean, your dog washed, your car clean, your children fed. You have your hair done, your makeup done, your work done. You know, you're like, it's just that there's always one plate in my life that's like, oh, that's a little wobbly, and I might have to go clean that up later, because you, right? And I do think this postpartum period, especially, you know, having a clean house, probably not realistic. Cooking a, you know, full-blown meal, sit down dinner, probably not realistic, right? But we feel like that somehow defines, if we keep it all together, then we're, you know, then things are okay in that regard. And I do think it's hard to prioritize sleep. For some reason, we think it's selfish, or it's not necessary, or you can do without it. And I love how you're saying, as far as priorities go.
Yeah. It's because when you struggle with a mental illness, it worsens with the lack of sleep. For example, I had a client who suffered with postpartum rage, and she was not sleeping. And when you struggle with a mental illness, if you do not sleep, you're setting the system up for failure, because the system is not recharging. You're suffering with rage. You're going to become even more cranky and shouting at the kids, and anxious and restless, because the brain is firing everything. It did not get a chance to recharge in REM the night before. And so you're like a battery that's burning up. So it worsens the conditions. And studies have shown that moms who do not struggle with a mental illness versus moms who do, in terms of the quality of their sleep. And you can see that it worsens the moms who struggle with the quality of the sleep. So it's a double-edged sword. It is extremely important.
Yeah. So let's talk about sleep deprivation a little bit. What do you find as far as what do you find in your clients? How do you help them know what's enough sleep for them?
Well, that is a very good question. Enough sleep. I guess it boils down to quality versus quantity, because the quality of your sleep, it's important. 1 minute. That's my dog. Chewy.
That's right. I have one too. She's probably going to go off too.
Chewy.
So, my dog's name is Sugar. Big surprise. And she was my Sugar no night for a while. Now she's Sugar night. Sorry, just a little side humor note there. So.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy. So your dog's name is Sugar?
Yeah, she's great. I will highlight her at some point, because she's just hysterical. So, anyways, I digress.
Okay, so the quality versus the quantity. Sleep deprivation, you can always tell if you're not getting enough sleep based on, you can use your mood as a measure. And for me, with my clients in mental illnesses, I always look at their mood. Like, how do you feel if you're extremely cranky today as opposed to yesterday, or you're still irritable? Normally when someone takes a nap, they recharge, they replenish the system, and their feelings should improve. But if you don't have a quality rest, then it's not going to work. It may just recharge you for a little bit, but if you're not completely relaxed, and especially if you struggle with PPD, the feelings of irritability can linger on day after day. and you're continuing to just focus on the newborn, nurse, not take care of yourself, not get enough sleep, and it will continue to linger with you day in and day out. So you can use your mood as a measurement as to how the quality of your sleep. Another measurement you can use is your nutrition, your appetite. How are you eating? Like if you are burning up a lot of energy, which if you're breastfeeding, you should be, and you will be burning up a lot of energy because not only are you breastfeeding, but your body systems are healing after giving birth. And if you still feel really sluggish, your energy is just deplete, you know, you still feel really tired. And even after eating a meal, because, you know, most moms when they're breastfeeding, they have to eat. Even after eating your meal, you still feel like, oh my God, I just can't. That can also be a factor that you're not getting enough rest. Okay. On the flip side, I've had clients who just can't eat. They've lost their appetite. And that can also be a factor that your body is not being recharged. You're not getting enough sleep because that is entirely your endocrine system, your hormone system, which also needs to recharge. So it's like a circle. You know, if you may think that sleep is just brain activity, but when you think about all the bodily functions that occurs when you go into REM sleep, you will see that it is vitally important if you want to heal and nourish your system after giving birth, and if you also want to heal and nourish your brain.
Yeah. And I know with kind of my own personal experience with, you know, sleep and PMADs, and was I figured out when I got like a 5-hour stretch of sleep, it changed things for me. And it changed things. And so, and I just have found it so interesting that studies have now shown that a 5-hour stretch of sleep is, you know, it's like a little less than 5 hours stretch of sleep is what will give you the resources you need to be coping with it. And so it's so fascinating to me how to sleep begets sleep. When you're getting sleep, sleep's easier to get. When you're not getting sleep, sleep's harder to get. So like now when I pull an all-nighter because I'm trying to figure out how to do an Instagram live, no, I'm going to pull an all-nighter but tonight. But I'm just saying there are times with work when I'm like on a learning curve, right? And so then the next night I could go to sleep and now I like can't go to sleep, right? So there is something to be said about a little bit of momentum also. So, which is really hard to get when you have a newborn. And I think we just have to be realistic about that too, which kind of leads me to my next question, which is like, what are some coping strategies? Because from my perspective, and this will be interesting to hear your perspective, but I look at when they first come into the world, the hierarchy of priorities. And I'm sorry, are you hearing that scratching noise? Or is it just me? I think my phone's doing a weird thing. Anyways. When I look at the higher priorities of sleep, I look at it as establishing attachment and good feeds, and then any expectation with possible schedule or the baby being able to do independent sleep or whatnot. So I really loved how you talked about, you know, possibly a co-sleeper and that kind of thing. So I would love to hear, because it's a double-edged sword, I guess. Like, so on one side, the reality is that baby needs to be fed. So like, hello, ladies, you're talking about sleep and you're saying, get all this sleep. And that sounds really nice. But seriously, like the baby needs to be fed. So how do you balance that when working with your clients? I'm lucky because by the time they're working with me, we're at a place where we can usually go a 6-hour stretch on feeds, right? So I'm not the one who's on the front lines with the mamas at this stage. So I would just love to hear some of your strategies with that, you know, duality of the reality.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jen, that it is a double-edged sword. But I always say to my clients, what is the alternative?
Okay.
Like the alternative, when you think about it, they don't get enough sleep. Yes, the baby is a newborn, you're nursing. Moms don't get enough sleep. but then that impacts inflammation in their system, impacts their gut health, it impacts their mood and mental health. It also impacts the quality and the quantity of the milk. It impacts the way mom feels. So it impacts every single thing. So, I mean, taking at least 2 hours, I mean, like, you can co-sleep, you can get help in terms of your nursing, you can have the grandparents over, but you need at least an hour to 2 hours. I know it sounds crazy when you think about all the things mom has to do in the initial stages, but what is the alternative? Like, if you don't, then you're going to be, all these factors can come into play, and they will start doing more harm than good, impacting your breast milk, impacting your mood health. It's just like a snowball effect. So for me, I look at, I just say, okay, you have to choose your poison, for lack of a better word. And it's like, you need to take a little bit of time, find a way how, where you can delegate or get help and support. Because if you don't, then you run the risk of having all these things, just get out of control and unbalanced. And then you're no use to anyone. You can't function for yourself. You can't help yourself. You can't bond with the newborn. You can't feed your newborn. So it's you just have to choose which one is the least of the two evils, I guess.
Yeah, right. So I like some of the tips that you gave, and one of those is actually one that I recommend too. It's like taking shifts with your partner. So I often say, mom takes that first shift, and that doesn't mean that you're totally off, because if you are breastfeeding, the reality is that the baby needs to be brought to you. You're not doing, a bottle, right? But even just the mental off the clock moment, knowing that somebody else is their priority is to go and get that baby, bring that baby to you, then take the baby back, change it if they need it, get the baby back down, or however that looks. I think sometimes just getting that mental off the clock shift can also make your sleep more restful, right? So I typically like to see it's that first shift from bedtime to like 1. What do you find with your clients as far as shifts? So it sounds lovely. Do you find that they actually take you up on it, right?
Some of them do. Some of them do. And I always tell them, when they're doing like a shift system, make sure it is coordinated also where they can eat. Also, if they need to shower or something, they can do a little bit of something for themselves, because that will help also to recharge and replenish. And if they're nursing, most moms depleted, they're always hungry most of the time. So have it coordinated around where you can grab a quick healthy meal, something to replenish you, and you can just take a quick rest, napping, sleep. But I get mixed results with that. Some of my clients find that it works well for them. Some of them don't, especially moms who are struggling with anxiety, like really severe anxiety. They find sometimes they would be worrying and stressing about not spending enough time with the baby, not bonding enough with the baby. So they just start having a lot of thoughts and intrusive thoughts about it. And so we have to work on that so that they can actually relax and they're resting, so that they're not thinking about all these things that can go wrong with the baby.
Yeah. And that's hard to talk about if you're having those struggles, and because you don't want the judgment, or you don't want something to be assumed in a way about, right? And so you know, as far as intrusive thoughts go, like, I think it's important to know that you don't create those. those come not because you created them, right? And so I really like that you kind of normalize that a little bit. That, of course, taking shifts sounds so logical, but if you're struggling with significant anxiety, that might not be a helpful solution for you.
With that, sometimes I would tell them, okay, at that point I would speak to the partner or the spouse or whomever and say, well, you know, just set up the baby close by where you can tend to the baby, so at least mom can see what's going on while she's resting or until she falls asleep. So, or when she wakes up, she can see the baby, you and the baby there, and everything is okay, just to help her calm down the thoughts for a little bit. And then eventually she's strong enough to be able to, you know, not have the visual right there and know that everything is okay with the baby.
Yeah. Oh, that's really good. Okay, so we've given some helpful tips of, one is take a nap. A nap is helpful, it changes things. 2 is try and do what you can to get some chunks of sleep and prioritize that, right? That something's got to give, and ultimately, you know, the higher priorities make sure that you're, you know, that mask, right? That airplane mask on the mama, then on the baby. It feels a little counterintuitive, but no, right? So, okay. The third one was, if you can do shifts, right?
Yes, very important.
Yeah. So you have some other really amazing ways in which you offer support and help. I know you have the PPD and PPA support group with Terri on Facebook. Can you? I saw you have a new series going, and maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
One of the challenges that moms who struggle with mental illnesses have is like a lot of stigma and shame around it. I mean, I see it almost every week, because you're in the field, you're asking for testimonials and stuff, and moms are afraid to do video testimonials or let people be aware. They're like, no, I don't want anyone to know that I struggle with depression and mental illness. It's just, there's just a stigma attached to it, and so moms are afraid to speak and to communicate on how they feel, be vulnerable on the different things that they're going through. So I created the group so that I can offer private, intimate support without, so that they can feel safe.
That's great.
And know that they can share whatever it is, judgment-free. It's a judgment-free zone. And they also have a community. So they have the support of other moms and the community from other moms. It is very useful, especially with different types of medications. Moms can be like, okay, well, I use this has helped me, this is what works, this is what doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. And it's a close-knit, secure, judgment-free zone for moms.
Awesome. Yeah, that's so great. All right, and so to get in touch with you, I know in your bio on Instagram, there's a tab you can tag where it will take you to that group, right? And then there's also, if they want to do a private time with you, they can, maybe you could talk about that 90-minute call a little bit.
Well, my 90-minute intensives are for depleted moms, and you don't have to be struggling with a mental illness. You can either be overwhelmed, stressed out, at your wits' end, because the intensive is completely customizable. So if you're struggling with breastfeeding, if you're struggling with your nutrition, if you're struggling with fatigue, energy, adrenal fatigue, anything like that, whatever it is that mom is struggling with, the intensives are there. I'm there to offer specific customized support for her.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it's the only time that I do that. It's the only time right now that I can do the intensive. So it's a great opportunity to work with me one-on-one.
Awesome. Love that. Well, Okay, this was super fun. I'm so glad that you were the person I jumped out of the nest with on Instagram Live, because you just made it so easy and comfortable. Thank you. And I'm hoping that maybe I can entice you to do this again and we pick some other topics, because I just think you have so much wisdom to bring us and offer. And I really see what you do and what I do as kind of bookends, and could really be supportive to each other. And so I also just like to end with, because we've spent so much time talking about postpartum, you know, anxiety, mood disorders, rage. It can look so many different ways. And Postpartum Support International is an incredible organization that has a helpline that if anyone is struggling, or wondering if you're struggling and kind of aren't ready quite to do the full, like, venture out into a Facebook group or make that call, like, hey, I need help. You just want to check out, do I need help? That is a great resource I'm involved with. And that website is Postpartum Net. Oh gosh, I hope I have that right. Yes, Postpartum Net. Okay.
It is correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually
Okay,
did training, the perinatal training with them. So yeah, it is correct.
Okay, good. Sometimes my brain doesn't hold like small details. It's really frustrating. So anyway, and I can't even believe in sleep deprivation. So whatever. But I just want to, I do want to take the stigma out that you couldn't know by looking at somebody. Nobody would have ever guessed to the level that I was struggling. And I just want to put hope in it that you're not alone. We're so many of us out here who are ready to cheer you on and be with you and stand with you in the moment. And because it's going to be a moment and it won't last forever and it's not your fault. And so we have incredible resources like Terri. Thank you. You are them. And
thank you so much, Jen.
Such an honor to be with you. So
thank you for having me.
Yeah, and hopefully I can convince you to do it again. So, all right.
Well, enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for coming.
All right, take care.
Bye. Thanks for showing up, guys. Bye.